And what you're going to see today is an example of what I call a solution-focused single session. So some of you were just in the workshop that I did with Alexia, and so you probably know or maybe don't know that my particular area of interest is doing this thing called single session therapy. So just as a context to giving kind of a thing, here in Canada, I'm from Canada, and in Ontario, a couple of years ago, we ran into some difficulties in our mental health care system because we had these things called the wait lists. And at the time when this thing came around, I was working in the child and youth sector, and the average length of time between intake or between the time that a person requested services, a child requested services, and the time that they actually met with a mental health professional was around 13 months. So this was a big problem, or this was identified as being a big problem by the government. And they kind of basically said, hey, community-based agencies that we are funding, you better do something about this because it's not working. And one of the things that they decided to try out was this model called a mental health walk-in clinic. So, mental health walk-in clinics were not necessarily new to or unique to Canada. They've kind of been all over the place, beginning with Moshe Talman in Israel. There was some work in Minneapolis, but currently in Canada, we have the longest running operational mental health walk-in clinic that originated in Calgary, Alberta, and is still running today. And again, the idea behind this is that people should literally just be able to walk in to a mental health agency and receive services. So last time I checked, the wait time between somebody walking into an agency and seeing a mental health professional in this model was about 20 minutes. So that's a big reduction from 13 months. What we did quickly realize, though, in the course of implementing this, is that that does mean that the clinician has to do some things differently. We operate a lot of times on a model where we expect our clients to adjust and adapt to the system or the model or whatever we're doing, and that doesn't work. But then we do sort of get these words around, or these words that we use called resistance. We have terminology, right, to describe people that don't do what we think that they should do. And in the world of solution focused, which was what I learned in 2008, and then moved to single session, we really believe that it's actually our responsibility as clinicians to be adapting to what the client presents in each and every moment. So, you're going to see me do some work today with the person who I have had very, very little contact with. I met her for the first time actually last week, to be honest with you. I was facilitating a group and she was a student of one of my participants. So I really don't know her at all. We had some logistical conversations before this about going into breakout rooms and, here's the Zoom link and all of those kinds of things, but that's about it. So this really is the single session model where we're going in kind of with no knowledge beforehand of what's going to happen and no expectation of what comes after. I think this is very solution focused, which is why, from my perspective, I do this from a solution focused single session kind of perspective. When I do solution focused, the way that I conceptualize it is we all have three tasks. Very simple, but we have three tasks in each and every session that we do. And the first task of the clinician is to figure out what the person wants. So that's my first task, is to figure out what she's hoping for or what she wants from this conversation. The second task is to invite her into a description of herself as having capacity. So I believe strongly, and when I describe this stuff when I'm training, I talk about how we are not a problem-solving model, we are a capacity-building model. Even sometimes the word solution building for me lands a little bit too behavioral. So I actually like to think that people have capacities that come from all over the place, and solutions are not necessarily just about what people do. A lot of it sometimes is just mobilizing and, making things bigger that are already there. So my job in this, and all of our jobs, I think, in a single session, is to really ask questions that are going to invite her to describe herself differently. And then the third task that I think we all have in every kind of session, and again, I don't think this is new, is to get out of the way. So the first task is to figure out what she wants. The second one is to invite her to describe herself as kind of having the capacity to get what she wants. And then the third one is to get out of the way so she can go off and do her thing. So you're gonna hopefully watch me do that. We'll see how it goes. I guess you never know. Right? When we go into these live sessions, what it's going to be like. Um, at the end, I'm going to probably do this for about, I don't know, maybe 25, 30 minutes. We'll see how it goes. What I would invite you as active observers in this process to do is possibly be prepared to offer Cassie some feedback. Because I think she's being very generous with herself and with her time and giving us the gift of an incredible learning opportunity, and to ask questions if that's something that you have, both of herself and to me. Make sense? Okay, we're all good. All right. We are ready when
I,
you are, Luke, to bring
okay,
Cassie
great.
back
I will do
in.
that.
Luke is here helping me.
Okay, I close the room shortly.
Hi. So sorry for the interruption earlier.
No, Cassie, it was perfect. I think that Luke is somehow gonna make you a, there we go. Yeah,
There we
so
go.
everybody can see on their screen me and Cassie. Is that right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is correct.
Okay.
It's
Cassie, thank
wonderful to
you.
meet you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for doing this, Cassie. It's very brave of you to come into this space. And again, I was just telling everybody like how grateful we are just for you to give us the gift of extraordinary learning. It's really lovely that you would do that, and thank you for that in advance.
Thank
Um,
you for taking the time to do this and everybody for being a part of it.
yeah, so Poe wants to know if you would feel more comfortable if everybody turned their video off. I can't see very many people though. I don't know if you can. I only have like
Um,
5 little boxes or something, but
I can see quite a few different people,
okay.
but
You
I
want their video
might
off?
be able to hide
Yeah. Yeah.
non-video participants.
It's
There
totally
we
up
go.
to you. Whatever you're comfortable with.
I'm sure it'll if everybody could actually shut off their video, probably that way I can focus on you. Thank you
Sure.
so much.
Yeah,
I turned
perfect.
off all non-video participants, so it just makes it a lot easier.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Okay. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, so I'm going to start asking you questions. You good with that? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So my first question for you, surprise, surprise, is going to be, what is your best hope from us talking here today?
I guess I would like to explore something about myself.
Okay.
That's, I guess, a hope.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And if it, at the other end of this, the exploration was useful for you, what do you think you're going to notice?
I feel like what I would notice is maybe something for me to work on
Okay.
at home or even just to work on after this. So maybe a goal to set for myself. There we go.
Okay. So you'd like a goal at the end of this for yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
And what difference will that make for you if at the end of this conversation you have something to work on or a goal?
Um, that's actually a good question. I feel like, sorry, would you be able to repeat the question again?
Sure. Yeah. What difference is it going to make for you? Like if you have a goal or, something to work
Okay.
on, what difference will that
Um,
make?
I feel like it'll make a change in the way I think about myself, maybe.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. And any ideas what you would like that change to be and how you think of yourself?
So I've one thing to learn about me is that I've actually done schooling beyond social work. I've also done it within creativity, so like graphic design and so on. And sometimes I felt like I had some failures in certain aspects. I have been trying to challenge my mind with it, but there's always those little um little things that just grab at you that you just go, ugh, I can't believe that this happened, or, you know. And in some ways, I'm able to sometimes catch myself doing it, but I can't seem to consistently do it. So I'm
Okay.
wondering if there's a way I can change that.
Okay. Change it to what? So if it changes, what do you want to be on the lookout for?
Maybe, maybe a way to be kinder about those times.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. A way to be kinder about those times.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what difference would it make for you if you were kinder about those times?
I feel like maybe I would understand that sometimes things don't happen the way we expect and everything like that, and that maybe there's room for growth.
Okay. And that would be good for you to be kinder to yourself and feel like maybe there's room for growth.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So if that's kind of the direction of our conversation is for you to catch yourself being kinder to yourself, maybe
Yeah,
be more aware of those areas of growth. That would be good for you, Cassie.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
At least I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So kinder to yourself, room for growth. All right. So, I mean, one of the things that I'm interested in, right, is what's going on or what do you know about yourself that tells you now is the time? Like now is the time when I can be kinder to myself or there's more room for growth.
Well, it's actually because I'm seeing opportunity working at like the placement that I am. So,
Okay.
I currently am like in a placement at high school. I absolutely love it. I get to
Okay.
express myself creatively, and I also get to help people, which, like in so many different aspects have just, like circled around my life and whatnot. And I feel as though I don't want that excitement to end or for it to be um burdened by what I've done, like what hasn't worked in the past.
Okay.
And I think that it would be hard if I had these things still circling around my head because I wouldn't be able to give it the care it deserves or the students the things that they need, especially when
Okay.
I'm like that, you
Okay.
know?
And that's important for you,
Yeah.
right? To feel that sense of excitement in your life.
Hmm.
Yeah. What difference does it make for you to currently be in a placement where you have ways of expressing yourself, excitement?
I get to see the kiddos like inspiration light up. I get to see like when they end up telling me their stories about like themselves and what they're excited for. I want to be able to like I love seeing their encouragement. Um and pretty much drawing has always been like a self-expression for me and sitting and conversating with people. I also work in a library, so like when you meet so many people in the public and you see so many opportunities to make a person's day better, it just, it gives you a little bit of hope and
Yeah.
happiness.
Absolutely. So if I talk to one of your kiddos, right, in your high school, right, and I said, so I don't like, what do you notice about Cassie when she's being kind to herself? What do you think they would tell me? How would they know?
Hmm.
Like today's the day when Cassie's being kind to herself.
I don't know. It's been nice when they say that um when they get excited when we do our art focused therapy class and they
Okay.
go like, when's the next time we're coming or you're coming? And I'm like, I don't know, but I guess maybe that's something.
Okay.
I have, I mean, I've heard that I'm kind to them, maybe.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so what would they notice about you though that would let them say, I'm sitting here doing this art focused group with somebody who is currently being kind to themselves, who is recognizing areas of growth.
Maybe when I'm not afraid to. If they have a problem, they're not afraid to come to me for like help kind of
Okay.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess where that is treated with kinder Cassie is maybe not being afraid to engage in that help.
Okay. Okay. And so what is kinder Cassie doing? If she's not afraid, what is kinder Cassie doing that's communicating? Like what's happening instead of being afraid?
I guess just teaching what I know and what I can do.
Okay. And that's good
Yeah,
for you. Yeah.
that is good.
Yeah. So what difference would it make for you if you were approaching teaching what you know from a kinder Cassie kind of perspective?
Hmm. I feel like I would I would be happy. I would get to see their, again, like their passion and stuff, and then them and me both being excited to see them the next day.
Yeah. And that would be good for you. Yeah.
I think it would be.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm curious then, like if we think about, let's say, tomorrow is the day when you wake up kinder Cassie, when kinder Cassie wakes up, right? Don't know how it happens exactly, but
Hmm.
tomorrow is the day when that shows up in the morning, maybe when you first wake up. What do you notice about yourself that lets you say, there's something different here. I'm kinder to myself about the things that happened in the past.
Maybe it's just kind of not being afraid to engage in something, even if it kind of makes me a little uncomfortable,
Okay.
maybe.
And what are you going to notice about yourself first thing in the morning when you wake up that says, today is a day when I'm going to engage in something, even though it might be a bit uncomfortable?
Hmm. I get to focus on the good things that will come.
Okay. And when would you catch yourself focusing on the good things that will come?
When I step forward from what's stressing me, or
Okay.
like from what, huh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so it'd be I'd wake up in the morning, I wouldn't be worrying about what bothers me because I'd be working on the things that I can focus on that's for tomorrow, not yesterday.
Okay. And on a day like tomorrow, what are those kinds of things that you wake up with
Um,
focusing on?
I'll get to excitedly ask my supervisor about like how the art therapy went today. So there's that. Um, there'll be I can wake up and maybe say something nice about myself.
Okay. Like what? What would be the kind of thing when you wake up that you might say that would be nice?
Maybe I can't wait until you do a certain thing that day. So
Like what?
maybe it could be drawing. I can't wait to see what you draw today, or I can't wait to see what I say to a student today.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. And you would actually say that to yourself. You'd say that to yourself out loud in your head. Like how would you be talking to yourself?
Probably out loud. Even when
Okay.
I'm thinking in my head, it doesn't always. It just comes out. So better
Okay.
to be honest.
That's fair enough, right? So again, like so walk me through this. So you're gonna wake up in the morning and you're gonna
Yeah.
say out loud what? What are you gonna say again?
I'm gonna say I look forward to when I get to do drawing today, or I get to um tell myself I did a good job or something.
I'm looking forward to telling myself I did a good job.
Yeah.
And you would say that out loud. Is this right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I will do that. It might be a little awkward at first because, but
It is what it is,
give it a
right?
shot, right?
Yeah. Okay. And what difference would that make for you? Like if that's how you start your day, if you literally start your day being like, I can't wait to.
I think I would probably focus less on the negatives rather and, head towards the positive because I have something that I'm looking forward to rather than looking at what I've already done.
Yeah, absolutely. And what difference would it make for you again to be kind of like heading towards the positives?
I feel like it would it would make me be able to care for other people and do things that'll make a change for tomorrow rather than like only focusing on the past. And I just maybe have a bit more inspiration to do my own art again.
And that would be good for you to feel more inspired to do your own art. Okay. All right. So again, back me up a little bit. All right. So you're
Yeah.
waking up in the morning, and what would be the point when you say to yourself, I can't wait to? Like when would that happen? When you're lying about like what walk me through that for a minute.
Oh, I'd probably wake up, do
Yeah.
my daily ritual, and then maybe walk up to a mirror randomly and then do it. Like a surprise
Okay.
attack, you know?
The
Like a
surprise
surprise
attack.
attack.
Yeah. So you'd
Yeah.
actually even be looking at yourself in the mirror while it's happened.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you,
And
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you think that would be like for you? Like what difference would it make for you to look yourself in the eye first thing in the morning and be like, I can't wait to.
Maybe in a way it's almost like calming the voices that happen in the sense of like, that I can't believe this happened or I got to do better today or something where it's like you're looking yourself in the mirror and you're treating yourself with some sort of enthusiasm that you can do this. You will do better, you know.
Okay. And that would be good for you. This is something that you would really like that would make a big difference for you.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
At
Um,
least I hope so.
yeah. And are there other people around in the morning? Or is it
Uh, n- Surprisingly, no. I have somebody who sleeps in till like 11 o'clock, so I just am kind of sneaking out of bed and
yeah, so
going to work.
yeah, so you're kind of out the door then. Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
And so you've talked about your supervisor a couple of times,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So this is somebody who you're in contact with. Yeah.
Yeah. He's very knowledgeable. He's very kind and funny.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And on a day like tomorrow, yeah, tomorrow's Friday, I'm
Hmm.
just catching myself. On a day like tomorrow, are you likely to see him first thing in the morning?
I think, yeah, yeah. About 9 o'clock.
Okay. So if we fast forward a little bit, right, from this version or
Hmm.
from Cassie that's being like, I can't wait to in the mirror, right, and doing all of the
Hmm.
things. You fast forward to when you see your supervisor.
Hmm.
What is your supervisor going to notice about you in that moment that will clue him in to something being a bit different? You started the day a little differently.
Feel like maybe I'd be a bit, well, I guess I am fairly enthusiastic in the morning, but
Okay.
maybe I will loosen up or not loosen up. How do I put it? I would essentially like I would be enthusiastic, but I also will basically be able to just focus on what I can do today rather than what I, you know, um feel that I need to do in order to um, make up for the things I haven't achieved in the past.
Okay. Yeah. And what difference would that make for you to really shift into, I'm going to focus on what I can do today instead of the things
Hmm.
that I haven't done in the past?
I feel like I'll be less uptight, if that makes sense. Like I'm not uptight around him, like I'm very, we make jokes and everything. But in my brain, I'm always like, I gotta make sure that I do good. I have to make sure, like, so on and so forth. Instead of just like, how do I put it? I want to make him proud, but I also want to make myself proud. So if I can show him that I can be confident, but also casual, then maybe I won't have to worry about observing what things I've only done good and just like,
Hmm.
or the things I also could work on. So like not focusing too hard on those, just mostly taking what he says for what it is rather than what my brain wants it to be.
Okay. Okay. And so again, if we go back to kind of that moment when you walk in, like when you see him first off, right?
Hmm.
And again, maybe he doesn't know all of this, right? Because he's not there in the morning when you're saying, "Hey, I can't wait." You're talking to yourself in the mirror, right? But but it,
Hmm.
but what will he notice about you? You know, like when you first walk in, that tells him Kinder Cassie is in the school today. We have Kinder Cassie
Hmm.
here.
Maybe I'll t mention other things that I want to do, like that contribute to not only following him, but also um, going uh, in directions that I would also be enthusiastic about,
Like, like what?
like the art therapy or um, also connecting with students in different ways.
Okay. Okay. And do you have ideas about those different ways already?
Hmm. I would say like we could maybe host like an activity or something, also the therapy related, but maybe something with other classes, just because with the art therapy, it's also gone so, so well. So it makes me excited to see what the students come up with or do.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And I mean we never know, but what do you think his likely response is to that? If Kinder
I
Cassie says, I have an idea.
I feel like he'd be all for it. He's amazing. He's always looking for input and he again very kind even as he is now.
Yeah. And what do you do to contribute to that in that relationship? Like to have a relationship with your supervisor, well, you can say like, I have these ideas, and he's like, I did, and you're pretty sure that he'd be open to it. So
Hmm.
how are you
I feel like
contributing
we
to that?
planned something out. Yeah,
Yeah, and that would be good for you,
that
I guess.
would be good.
Okay. So then overall, I'm curious, like what difference would it make for you? Again, if you were really thinking about this, to wake up in the day and start that day saying to yourself, looking yourself in the eye and being like, I can't wait to, right? And then going
Hmm.
talking to your supervisor and having ideas, that sense of Kinder Cassie, just sort of like beginning the day and entering into the space that you're already excited for. What difference would that make for you?
I feel like I would be so focused on like making sure that I feel like I want to be enthusiastic, or not just enthusiastic. I would be so excited for the day that's coming that I wouldn't be focusing on the past
Okay.
because
And
I
so
have so
here's
many different things to do.
absolutely. And so here's the thing about, the past is sometimes it can be a bit sneaky, right? So
Hmm.
let's just imagine that, some of those thoughts want to creep in, right? Because they've been circling around for a long time.
Yeah.
So on a day like tomorrow, when Kinder Cassie is there, is present, right? All of the things, there's some excitement. There's that sense of like, I'm going to focus on here. I'm going to like come up with ideas, all of the things. When those thoughts of the past start to kind of creep in, how does Kinder Cassie meet them on a day like tomorrow?
I feel like I can use to accept that they happened, but again, use the idea that I look forward to something as opposed to what I could have done better. Because instead of focusing on what I did before, I have the opportunity to change it now.
And in the moment, how does Kinder Cassie remind herself? Like, what do you really need to remember? So that's the response when those thoughts come in.
I'm excited to do this.
And are you?
I think so.
Yeah.
I, I, I feel it anyway. So, yeah. And worst comes to worst, if I feel as though my brain might be harder to trick that day, I can give myself something to inspire myself. So again, doing the things that I enjoy doing. So like talking with the kiddos, talking with my supervisor, um, doing art.
Okay. And as you're doing those things, talking with your supervisor, talking with the kiddos, doing art, again, what do you want to be noticing about yourself that really solidifies this is kinder Cassie? Like this is how I want to be.
It'll show my change, and which circles back to pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Hmm.
that would be good for you.
It would be very much.
Okay. All right. So then I'm curious, kind of just to end, because I don't want to keep you for too long, but I'm curious, like, out of all of the things that you've heard yourself say today, what is something that really stands out as being like, I'm going to keep this moving forward?
I think um I think it's the fact that we're not hiding from what happened in the past, but we're accepting that it happened and then trying to focus on the things moving forward. So all the things I can do rather than being stuck with that, stuck with what could have been done different.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anything else stand out for you?
I think the opportunities that are around if I ever find I'm stuck in a rut, or even just the fact that I'm not alone in it.
That's important for you to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Good. Okay. Well, I think I'm done with the question asking for now, unless,
Thank you.
are you okay with that?
Yep. Yep.
Good. Okay. Thank you so much again, Cassie. Like, you really are extraordinary. I mean, just at the beginning of everything, but the thing that I'm noticing the most again is just your like enthusiasm and your excitement and just this idea of like being a kinder version of yourself is so inspiring, in someone who's just at the
Mhm.
beginning of things. So, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
sharing this part of you. It's been really, really great.
I really appreciate that. I was so nervous in the, in the other room. I was like, oh no. But anyway, thank you. And honestly, this was very enlightening. Funny enough, like I mentioned, like this was something I was gonna try to talk about with CMHA at one point. And I was just like, you know what? I've gone to CMHA about these things before, and it's a
Yeah.
good opportunity to do it today. So thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Okay. Well, and if you're okay with it, I mean, again, we're going to kind of come out, right? Like we're going to sort of do both like a little bit of unpacking and I already said to people they may have some questions for you or maybe some feedback to give to you. You're in a lovely community of people. So, if you're okay sticking around for that,
Mhm.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, then I'm going to open it up to everyone. And Luke, I don't know if you want to unpin us, and we can turn cameras back on
Yeah,
if
give me
that.
2 seconds. I'll get that done.
Thank you so much, Luca.
Thanks, Cassie. Okay, spotlight.
Okay, are we back? There's a lot of people in this. My goodness. Okay, so um, as we all come back together, I'm just wondering if anybody has any feedback or anything that they want to say to Cassie to begin with, any reflections or any kind of appreciation that may come up for people. And feel free to turn your cameras back on now. Good.
Just a thank you, Cassie, for being brave to share your story and your heart with all of us. Because as therapists, we learn the best sometimes when we get to see and practice. So we always need people to put their hand up, and you're one of the brave ones that did that. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Good. Anyone else have anything to offer to Cassie as some feedback? Solution focused therapists are so good at this. Angela, yeah?
Hi, Cassie. Hi, Alicia. That was a really lovely interview. And I just want to say to you, Cassie, I wish you were doing a placement in my workplace because, your enthusiasm and just generating ideas and your openness must be just an incredible gift to where you are. So thank you.
That
Yeah.
means so much. Thank you so much, Angela. Everybody has their own amazing skills, and please don't forget that about yourself. Um, who knows, maybe one day our paths will cross.
Good. Andrea, I think you maybe had something as well.
Oh, kia ora, Cassie. I just want to thank you as well. I think, yeah, you're very brave to participate in this exercise. And I've been like here like since the start of this SF conference, and you have been, funnily enough, in every workshop that I have been in. So I really, really appreciate your contribution to the other workshops as well. And I think we've got a beautiful SF practitioner in the making. So I really appreciate your contribution.
Good.
You're so kind, Andrea. Thank you. And yeah, no, it's definitely funny that we've been in each of the things together. Um, and as I said before, when I was in the breakout room, I was just like, oh my gosh, this was happening. I had the thing that I wanted to talk about, but then my brain kind of went bleh. So perfect opportunity.
Good. Okay, Tomas.
I love that noise, Cassie, and I was wondering like where it come from because to me you appear super nice already. So I was wondering how is the nicer version of you, or like how can it be even nicer than you already are? So to me it seemed like that you already are that person who you may want to be, but that's just me observing from the outside. And but I do have a question to you though, that how do you feel yourself during the interview? Because I tell you why I'm asking this, because to me it seemed like you've been bombarded with questions, and I loved all of them. So it was amazing to see. But you've been very good at answering them. So you put a lot of thought in it, and it is a quick, fast-paced interview. But there were like about, I don't know, 200 questions more than I usually ask. So that's why I'm asking how how did you feel during this? Like I call it bombardment of questions, but maybe it's like already like a prejudice applied to it. So how did you feel?
Thank you so much for the question. So for starters, I would say like at first I was very anxious because I've been learning this model, so I've been like trying to understand it as well as normally when I see people, I always like to either be private or with people who are familiar to me. This was a big challenge because, everybody is a wonderful stranger, as I like to say. And even Ali, how do
Alicia.
you pronounce your name, by the way?
Alicia, I know it's so
Alicia, okay, I thought
yeah.
so. I was just like, I don't want to butcher it. But the right words to put it is just when you're kind of in this situation, and especially when you're wanting to learn, sometimes taking that academic humility, and especially what I learned in school, helped me to kind of become a bit braver with things like this. So, and even as I also like to say is because at one point Alicia actually asked me if I wanted people to be able to ask questions. And the one thing I said is like everybody learns differently. So me being in the moment and experiencing it myself gave me an opportunity to learn that with her questions, of course, she was asking me many different questions, but it always circled back to the same thing, where essentially you're trying to have somebody figure out their goal. But in order to do that, you can't focus on the problem, you have to focus on the strengths. So when she was asking me questions about oh, how would you see a kinder Cassie? Or what makes you happy essentially? The times where I feel the most happy is when I'm connecting with people or when I'm doing art. So she essentially kind of tailored it towards the things I've already said rather than thinking about, okay, well, why do you like these things? So on and so forth. You kept it simple, you kept it kind of like graphic design, where it's like if you're looking at a billboard, you only have 10 seconds to look at that billboard. Can you get out of that 10 seconds?
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question, okay?
Yeah. Did you find, I mean, this is a question I think that we often ask ourselves and others, right?
Mhm.
Is like when you were experiencing the questions, because, I don't often make statements, right? Like I'm not a big
Oh.
statement maker. I don't do,
Mhm.
paraphrasing. Like I don't often do that. Because again, I think, and this is maybe a single session thing, right? Is if you're really focused on the idea of like, we have to maximize the time that we have, in this model, questions are the intervention.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer then that every time we open our mouth, we should be doing intervention
Yep.
because we don't know. This might be the only time that we have to do that, right? So I think there's always a balancing point around how much is too much, so because we don't want our people to feel overwhelmed. So unless I'm misunderstanding the question too much, that's sort of like, did you feel like it was too much, or did you feel like that there was ease in answering? I guess is maybe a question. I want to make sure I'm getting that right, Tomasz. Is that right? Yeah.
Um, whether it was too much or not, it depends on Cassie actually. So
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Yeah.
yeah, so to me it
Oh,
wasn't too much, but it was certainly a lot more than I asked,
sure. Yeah.
and with much shorter. Um, so I give more time for to
Mhm.
answer because I think that it might reveal something. So I let her go into her own thought process, uh, and now it seemed like that. Okay, first answer, good clock. Next question. So and it worked, so it's all good. But
Sure.
I'm wondering how Cassie felt about it. That's all.
Yeah.
Whether it was not too
I
much or just enough.
Of course. I like I mentioned, like I felt like it circled back to at some point. Because like the funniest thing too is that and I hope this kind of explains it, but I have ADHD, so sometimes my brain doesn't always, it scatters. It's all over the place. So when she was talking with me, I was able to kind of bounce back and forth. So though it may have seemed like there were a lot of questions being asked, it actually kind of helped me kind of bounce towards, okay, back to point A, back to point B, back to point A. It was very good. I really enjoyed it. And at the end of the day, I did get a result that I can look forward to tomorrow. Yeah. There you go.
Perfect. Thank you. Miklos and then Tisha. I want to make sure. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Hi, Cassie. I like your name and you're awesome. And I had a sensei who told me that if you can imagine something, then you can achieve it. So you just did the first part perfectly. So tomorrow is going to be a very interesting day for you. So keep
Lovely.
it on.
Good. And Tisha?
Yes, hello, Alicia and Cassie. That was amazing. I was so impressed that, on the scene, like other person asking question that I do all the time in the solution focused breath therapy, and I'm wondering, Cassie, what could you look back a little bit to the session and to find some point, some moment where you found that it was transformative for you, like you like found the moment, like, oh, that starts to work to me, like could you find this moment for us, please share. Thanks.
Yeah. The interesting thing is that it was especially the questions where it's like, how do you find a kinder Cassie? Because that is what I ended up saying at one point was the how can I be kinder to myself? Well, basically, when she started asking things like, oh, what would other people see in me? That's when it started to kind of hit me a little bit where I was like, what do people actually see with me? Because I'm so focused on how I see myself and what I haven't, like, what I'm so stuck on that I forgot about what people already see in me. And so Alicia helped me to see that within myself. And from there, I was able to kind of like, again, bounce back on that idea that, like if I'm doing the things that I'm doing, but also looking at them with something to be excited about for tomorrow, then that will help me to see that, hey, what I'm doing for myself is enough, but it'll also allow me to remember that I'm not alone in this and that there are other really amazing people that are supporting me and, you know, making my aspirations and my reasons for being in social work where I am now. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
good. So I don't know if anybody has any questions for me too. I'm open to that or any comments or reflections or anything like that. But what was done, maybe also some things that weren't done. I know that sometimes I don't do things that people expect. Yeah, so Shirley and then Jeff maybe.
Yeah, I always tell you, I love that you slow down so much because it gives everybody, to me as an observer, certainly I would suspect to Cassie time to think a little bit and really reflect. But also somehow your questions feel more like a hug than anything else. So I don't know how you do that, but when you figure out words for the how.
Yeah, I don't know if I've thought about that, Shirley, but thank you for saying that. I think that's a good thing. I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Hug questions. Maybe that can be a new
Yes,
category. I don't know.
you should trademark that as well. Along with the soup and the salad and the whole thing.
Good. Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. Jeff, did you have a question? I think you had your hand up there for a minute and now.
Yeah, I just want to also acknowledge Cassie, and I see you already as a great therapist just because of your heart. You really care about your students, your clients, and here you are attending this conference and trying to learn all you can. And yeah, I'm I think you already are a great SFBT therapist. Um, Maybe I'm making that up, but that's what I believe. Um, and then just in general, also want to acknowledge both of you for your courage. Alicia, that's takes a lot of courage to go live with having no idea how it's going to go. Um, and I was really impressed that, you had a conversation that went on for 45 minutes or so, and there was no technical jargon. There was no resistance or coping skills or you should do this or that. Um, and there was no advice given, but still something happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think sometimes like especially when we do like single session stuff, I mean, I think that that's one of the challenges, right? Certainly when I'm training or also when I'm doing is that I think sometimes if we're really in a model where we're thinking this is maybe the one and only time that we're ever going to meet with someone, I think that our own anxiety wants us to be like, so how are you going to do this? Right? And even asking the question, so what do you think is what's gonna help? Like, what are you gonna do in the next little bit of time? And I think I'm personally am a big believer again in getting out of the way. And I think sometimes part of getting out of the way is letting the questions live outside of the session. And I think sometimes if we ask those questions too early, then people come up with an answer, but it's not the answer that's actually going to work tomorrow or the day after the day after. And I think that's one of the challenges and one of, again, kind of the balancing points when we're doing this work, right? Is we want people to say, I'm going to do this, right? And we think that we need to ask the question. And I'm not sure we do, actually, right? I think that that's a really interesting thing that happened. So I'm one of the SF people that actually doesn't ask that question at the end of sessions. I'm not a big plan maker. Yeah, good. So Cassie, you have a question and then Angela.
I do. I'm so excited. Okay. So for starters, I just wanted to say, like, again, the way you did it was just amazing. I felt like at the end of the day, I achieved something for myself. One thing that this kind of relates me to is I love, or sorry, I love the library for certain things because it's helped me to learn different aspects of things. And one thing was tech help. And one of the biggest like ideals I had for it was always at the end of me helping you, I want you to be able to do it for yourself. So that when the next day you can feel accomplished because you did it. And I feel like that's what solution focused brief therapy is. It's at the end of the day, we are there to guide them, but we're not there to do things for them. Matt's actually used, that's my supervisor. He's used the ideal of where it's like, we are responsible for the process, but we are not responsible for like your afterwards. Like it's up to that person to get those results. It's up to that person to do that. But if we give them the right tools to do that, then that's like the biggest achievement that we can get for them or to give them. Yes, that word. My question to you was, did you ever feel, or sorry, did you ever notice I was um, trailing back and forth, like I didn't understand certain things? And let's say I did end up doing that. How would you handle that situation?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a great question. So, I don't know that I ever think about, are you understanding or not understanding? Like, I don't know that I sort of think things in that way. Like, I think however
Mhm.
you experience the question is the right
Okay.
way. So that's one of the, one of the things that I think about. However, with you, I did do something. I don't know, I'm sure everybody else noticed to try to make sure that things stayed on track. Did you notice what I did almost
I
every
did.
time? Did anybody else? Well, anybody else notice what that was? What I did? A lot with her.
Well, I think that you she said she would say something and you wouldn't like go to where she said. You took her back to the initial question. So you let a lot of things go and just kept going back to the initial question.
Yeah, using her language verbatim.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Like that's the way, or for me anyways, that's, when people seem to be a little drifty, right? Like that's what I always do, is I always just use verbatim the language. That's why I don't do the paraphrasing or whatever, because I think again, the way she describes herself is the right way. So yeah, so I don't know if it's a question of understanding or not understanding, but since we had a contract, like we clearly said, you want to be kinder to yourself, or that's what you want to notice. So, yeah, that's kind of what that's my job, right? Once you tell me what you want from this, then it's my job to stick with that until you tell me
Thank you
otherwise.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I caught that actually at certain points because I was just like, wait, I'm getting asked this question. I know this loop. We talked
Yeah.
about this loop,
Yeah.
and it's just fantastic.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
think that's the other thing too. I think Tomash, with the idea of like the asking the number of questions, like I think what I try to do, whether it's successful or not, I don't know. But I think that when we're using and feeding back people's verbatim language, I think it doesn't feel like a different question because it becomes layered, right? It becomes like, you're building a tapestry instead of asking a brand new question. So, I mean, I'd have to take a look at the thing, but hopefully what happened in there, what I try to do anyways, is it's not even necessarily like I'm asking a brand new different question for people to think about. Hopefully the experience of it is literally like a layering experience, right? Where it's the same question, and if I can use and incorporate her words, then she doesn't have to think about something in a brand new way. It's just deepening the thing that she's already told me, if that makes sense. I don't know if that worked or not, but that's what I try to do. That's what I, when I'm in it, that's what I'm, that's what I think about anyways. So, and Angela, I think you also had your hand up. It's down now. And then Mirland, I don't know if you still have a question or not.
I'll just really quickly comment. I was going to say exactly that I felt that the reason why the questions could come at a regular pace was because it was a very clean and concise repetition of her language. It really, like, I've seen you do this before and you're so good at that. You just go back and you just go back. And I really appreciated it. Great
Well, thank
reminder.
you so much
I
for
know
sharing.
we're all doing that, but you have something really, you just really get that down.
Well, thank you for saying that, Angela. I appreciate that. Okay, Mirland, you get the last word. It looks like it's 4:57, so
I'm a little nervous. But yeah, geez, Alicia and Cassie, thank you so much. Like I just this getting to learn and see and observe is really helpful. Especially I was thinking about the last kind of workshop that we were talking about the core components. And the question was really about that. Um, because I was hearing so much of the identifying and mobilizing the resources, but I guess I'm kind of stuck on like which ones were external and which ones were internal. Like, how do I tell a difference?
yeah, yeah. So for those of you that weren't in that session, like what we talked about the last time is in every session and we did this with Alexia and step care, or anyways, for single session, we've just sort of decided, or we've tried to figure out a list of things that we want to see present in every session. So one of them, I think it's the fourth one, I think it's four, right, Alexia, is about mobilizing internal and external strengths. So, or resources is not the word, right? So I think actually that word resource for me is a really important word as opposed to strengths. Because I think if you think about resources, you have external resources, like, I have great parents. So that might be an external resource that I can mobilize if I'm feeling overwhelmed. Maybe they can take the kids or something like that. My internal resources are the things that kind of keep me going that are internal to me, right? So there are things that I sort of know about myself, right? I'm very determined, and that determination allows me to stay up until 11:30 at night doing work some days. Maybe that's good, maybe that's bad, but that's an internal resource that I can call upon as needed to be able to achieve or accomplish the things that I want in life. So I think sometimes we think of strengths and whatever as again being a list of things that are kind of present as opposed to things that are as opposed to it being a resource that we can mobilize as needed in the moments that the client or that I or that the people feel like it's going to be most useful. So, I mean, I think it's just a language change in some ways, but for me, language shapes reality, right? Like this is our postmodern mentality, of course, of social constructionism and stuff, right? So for me, I'm quite intentional about thinking about that, right? About what are the resources that are present externally, like I have a great job with step care, or internally, like I'm again, I have good perseverance or something like that would be an internal resource that I've been able to mobilize over time, consciously or not, right? And so what we want to do in this, I think, is build the capacity, is allow people to realize they already have these things in their life. Maybe they're not being mobilized right now. Who knows? Maybe mobilizing them or growing them would make a big difference. Who knows? We don't know, but we're going to invite that description of things that are already present, both inside and outside, to try to make a difference in people's lives. So, yeah. Okay. I know there's other sessions going on, so I don't want to bleed into that. But thank you all for sharing space with me. It's lovely. Everybody's so positive and kind and supportive. Um, so that's a great gift, for certainly for me and for Cassie and for the community, hopefully. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of this conference. Should be great.
Thank you so much again. And I'm so glad I got to meet you and get to know you a little. Well, I guess, you got to know more about me, but I'm happy I got to, have one-on-one with you. And I look forward to the future.
Great. All right. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.